Okay, let me guess. You're trying to do bank reconciliations in QuickBooks Online, but you can't because the beginning balance is wrong. Watch this video. I'm going to show you the 2 most common reasons that it happens, and I'm going to show you step by step how to fix it. Go ahead and subscribe so you can catch more QuickBooks tips and tricks from your girl. Okay, let's go. Okay, so before we get started, I want to mention something. For this entire video, we are going to make the assumption that the goal is to get 2024 reconciled, and you're starting with January 2024 as your reconciliation. And so I have a fake January 2024 bank statement, and we'll be using that. First scenario is you have a $0 balance showing in the beginning balance area. However, on your bank statement, it shows a balance other than 0, right? Because you have activity in your bank account prior to January 2024. So first of all, this $0 here, this just means that there have been no bank reconciliations done prior to now, essentially. It can mean other things, but that's usually what it means. The first thing we're going to do in order to get your beginning balance to show here is to do what I call create a starter reconciliation. And what that means is we want to reconcile everything in the books prior to January 1st, 2024. Now, another assumption that we're going to make is that we are not interested in cleaning up 2023, researching, troubleshooting, figuring out what happened, or any of that. All we want to do is to get a fresh start as of January 1st. Okay? So with that said, this is the process. If something doesn't make sense, you can ask me in the comments, but you're gonna have to just trust me on a lot of this. I'll try to make it make sense though, okay? All right, so let's first get our January statement. Now, again, we are not why is it not working? Again, we are not reconciling January right now. We're doing the starter reconciliation right now. Okay, cool. So here's our January 2024 bank statement. This opening balance that you see here of $2,000, that's obviously what we want to show here, but it's not there. So let's do what Joy says so we can get it there. So you're going to copy this amount, this 2,000. And you guys, I need you to get used to using keyboard shortcuts, okay? You should not be memorizing numbers, and you sure should not be writing down numbers, okay? If you have a Mac, it's Command C to copy. If you have a Windows PC, it's Control C, all right? So highlight it. I'm doing Command C, and I'm going to paste it over here in the statement ending balance field. And before you guys say, Joy, that doesn't say beginning balance, it says ending balance. I know we're not at that part yet. Just follow my lead. Okay. So same here with the statement ending date. We're not going to do January 31st. We're going to pick the January 1st date. So we're going to do 1/1/24 and tab. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit start reconciling. And we don't need the bank statement right now. We're going to circle back to that. But right now, let's put that back there. Okay. So this is what we have right now. Again, the objective right now is just to do a reconciliation of everything before January 1st. The first thing you're going to do is select all. And go ahead and click the don't ask me again. Otherwise, this thing is going to creep up on you like constantly. Yes, we're sure we want to select everything. All right. Now we want to uncheck every transaction that belongs on the January bank statement, or technically any bank statement after December 2023. Okay. There are 2 transactions I see that stand out as belonging in January, and that's these 2 here because they have January cleared dates. So what is a cleared date? What does that mean? So the cleared date is the date of the transaction as it shows in the bank transaction screen. You're going to hear me call it the bank feed like forever. That's old school QuickBooks lingo. So if I say bank feed, I'm talking about bank transactions. So in other words, this check here, it was written with the 12/20/23 date. That means when I entered the check into the system, I put 12/20/2023 in the date field. Okay, that's the date of the check. But the check didn't clear the bank, aka the vendor didn't cash it yet, aka the vendor didn't deposit it into their bank yet until January 11th or possibly January 10th, and it took a day to process, whatever. But the point is, this is the date that it cleared our bank. Okay, so since it cleared the bank in January, we want to uncheck it because we don't want it on this rec. We want it on our January rec because it's going to show up on our January statement. All right, and then same with this one here. This showed up because we made our statement ending date January 1st. Now you could just as easily make your statement ending date for the starter rec December 31st. But you could do it either way. The main thing is you don't want to delete, edit, or create transactions with a pre-January 1st date, because now you're disrupting prior year financials and you don't want to do that. So now we're going to come down here and uncheck this guy too, because it clearly belongs on our January reconciliation. All right, so we've unchecked those. Now, in a perfect world, assuming that you've done everything right in your bookkeeping for this checking account, every transaction that came in the bank feed, you processed it, there's nothing duplicated, nothing missing, you would actually have $0 here and you have your green check mark. So the fact that there's still a difference means that something was done wrong in the bookkeeping. Either things are missing or something's here that shouldn't be or whatever. So in order to make this work, we are going to have to create a journal entry for this amount. Again, the objective right now is not to troubleshoot or figure out what happened in 2023. We just need to force this to work so that we can do proper reconciliations going forward. Because in the future, we're not forcing reconciliations, right? We're going to always do them right going forward, okay? This is a one-time thing that we want to do. All right, so again, go ahead and copy this. I'm going to do Command C. All right, so now we're going to create the journal entry by going over to this pane to bring our left pane back. And we're going to go to New, and then Journal Entry. Okay, so your date is going to be January 1st, 2024. That's as far back as we can go without touching any prior years. The account that you're going to select is your checking account that you're reconciling. So mine is called checking. And for the second account that you're going to use, typically you'll find most people using either opening balance equity or retained earnings. Now, I have to say this throughout this video. I'm not your accountant, so I'm only telling you things that I've seen in practice, things I've done myself, things I just know about. By all means, you ask your tax accountant or your CPA about things like this, because I don't want to get in trouble. Description. It is always a great idea to fill out the description field when doing a journal entry. You will be your accountant's worst nightmare if you go around making journal entries and there's no description and they don't know what it is, and months later you don't know what it is. Just always fill it out, okay? So you want to say essentially what you're doing. It needs to be descriptive. So I would say something along the lines of like, to establish, and I'm doing this one-handed, so sorry that this is going to take a long time, balance of checking account as of 1/1/24. Okay, and so for this particular journal entry, it's a good idea to copy and paste that here. And you know, I'm an advocate of not letting useful fields go to waste, so go ahead and paste it in your memo field too. And the thing is, like, depending on the reports that you run, you may not always see the description field. Like, this may not pull in, but the memo field might. So and vice versa, you may run a report that doesn't show the memo, it only shows the description. And so the idea is you want to cover all bases and just make sure that all of these are filled out, so that no matter what report you run, you get to see the relevant information to know what the heck you did. Okay. Journal entry number You can leave this at whatever the default is for QuickBooks. So it's going to start off at, the number 1, and then it's going to go in sequential order after that. The next journal entry is going to be number 2. I believe in having a naming convention for your journal entries because, you know what? Again, you don't want to let a good field go to waste. And when you're trying to search for things, it's just helpful to have a naming convention. Okay. So me personally, I like to do year and then month, and then I'll maybe indicate like the account that I'm affecting. So in this case, I'm affecting the checking account, and I might put like adjustment. And this field has it allows for very few characters. So I'll just copy that. Now, let me say this too. I am a textbook overthinker. So I know I just said that I copy and paste this description and put it down here in the memo. Well, a lot of times I'll copy and paste the journal entry number and put it down here in the memo, depending on how I'm feeling. So don't be like me. Pick a policy and stick with it. Either use your journal entry number here or your description field, or just make the memo something completely different. Okay, just have a process. Okay, so I am going to check this too, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save and close. Don't do save and new. That just means that you want to create another journal entry after this. You don't want to, okay? So do save and close. And this will take us right back to our bank reconciliation screen. All right, cool. So let's get rid of that left pane again. Okay, so now something magical is about to happen. Our journal entry is down here, and here's our 2839.32. So we're going to select it, and when we do that, ta-da! There's our green check mark and our $0 difference. So what we have done is we have selected every transaction that occurred before January 1st, 2024, with the exception of our journal entry that we created. Okay, so we're going to do finish now. Okay, lovely. And now, as you can see, we have our $2,000 opening balance showing here as it should. Okay, so now let's talk about instances where, again, like the last scenario, you've not done any bank reconciliations for this account, but yet somehow, some way, there is a beginning balance showing here. Where did that come from? So I'm going to show you how to answer that question and how to deal with it. So you're going to go to the bank register, and the fastest way to get there is to just go right here. Okay, now you want to go to your filter, which is right here, and you want to tell QuickBooks to filter this bank register on all reconciled transactions. If there's anything in here reconciled, that is what is likely causing the issue. So let's click on reconciled and hit apply. And there it is. So you're off by exactly this amount, right? On the other screen, it was this amount. And the reason is because of this transaction here that is reconciled. That's what this R stands for. Okay. Now you're wondering, where did this come from? I didn't reconcile anything. How did this happen? So when you link a bank account to the bank feed in QuickBooks, QuickBooks will take it upon itself to establish a beginning balance. And not only will it create a transaction to establish that balance, but it'll also reconcile it for you automatically. I don't find this to be helpful. I'm sure there are instances where it is. That's why it's there, but I just don't find it to be helpful. So I typically recommend just deleting it. You can revise it to create an entry like we did before, like how we did the journal entry. But I delete that thing. So you just click anywhere on the row like I just did here, and then just click delete. Yes, we're sure. And so now when you go back to your reconciliation screen, which you would get to by going right here, okay, so now your beginning balance is 0, And now you can do the starter reconciliation that I showed you on the first scenario. Now, keep in mind, like I said, you can likewise revise that entry, but I'd have to show you like what to do, and just do it the way I showed you. All right, so those are the two most common scenarios that you're going to come across if you've never done a bank reconciliation, but somehow your beginning balance is off. If you found this to be helpful, you know what to do. Like the video, comment on the video. If you didn't find it to be helpful, still comment on the video so I can help you. And most importantly, subscribe to my channel so I can send you more good stuff like this, right? And as always, if you don't want to deal with this yourself and you'd rather just have a bookkeeper handle this for you, my information is in the description on how you can get in contact with me, and I can clean all this up for you, especially if cleanup is your issue. Don't suffer in silence. Holler at your girl and I'll help you out, potentially. Bye, take care. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended as financial, tax, or accounting advice. For specific advice tailored to your business or financial situation, please consult a qualified professional. QuickBooks Online is a registered trademark of Intuit Inc., and this channel is not affiliated with or endorsed by Intuit.